He's got a great shoe collection, and that might be a motive.
What's happening, guys, and welcome back to another video on our glorious channel. If you've already read the title of this video, well, after all, these guys are normal people. With the NBA players making millions of dollars, of course, they will go ahead and purchase insane mansions, incredible cars, and jewelry that can light up an entire stadium. And as it turns out, not everyone is a fan, and so they're willing to risk everything to get what these players have. Here are some of the NBA players that were robbed. Number 6, Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh has had a very successful NBA career, bringing in roughly $80 million in career earnings. This amount made him a clear target for being robbed. In 2013, Chris and his wife let their kids with a housekeeper at home to go downtown for his 29th birthday. When they came home, they saw all their stuff run through. His wife's closet was cleared out of everything. All of this cost Chris nearly $500,000, including jewelry and other items. The honest part about the whole robbery was that out of everything taken, only his championship trophy remained. It was sitting right in the open, and surprisingly, the robbers didn't pay attention to it. Either whoever did this respected Bosh in his profession, or was just blind enough to not see this valuable trophy lying around. The police claimed that there was a good chance the robbery was an inside job because the robbers knew the kids would be alone at home, and the latter also didn't hear anything. What's more, all the security cameras were shot, proving the police's suspicion. It was highly unfortunate indeed.
Babysitters we do know just started working for the Boshes about 4 months ago.
Number 5, Lou Williams. Lou Williams always ended up making headlines since he joined the NBA in 2005. He became one of the biggest men in history. But arguably, the biggest story surrounding him came in 2011 on Christmas Eve. When Lou was going to get a haircut in his hometown of Philly, the craziest thing happened. He often explains getting a haircut in a special part of town because they do it better given his afro hair. Besides this, he is also respected around there despite being a major crime area. Lou stopped at the red light and he was staring at his phone as he heard a knock on the window. He looked up and found a weapon pointed at him. He rolled the window down and the armed man asked him to step out of the car. Lou said he just paused at the moment and said, "Huh?" And that's when the armed man identified Lou and said, "Lou? Can't even do it to you, bruh. I got too much love for you." He continued to tell the story of the robber. The robber said how he had just gotten out of jail and only had a bus ticket to get back home. He was thinking fast and offered him food from McDonald's that was just up the street. The two didn't sit together and have a chat, if that's what you're thinking. They just went up there. The man ordered what he wanted, Lou swiped his card, and then left.
Like, pull up to the McDonald's. Pull up to the McDonald's. So they made the story like I sat down and ate with him on some, nah, hell nah. That motherfucker ordered food, I swiped.
Number 4, Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson has had a bumpy ride. He made millions with the NBA, but lost all of it due to his unhealthy spending habits. After his spell of bankruptcy, he was getting back on his feet, but then he got robbed at a hotel, losing nearly $500,000. In late January of 2020, Allen Iverson was getting food at a hotel when his stuff was stolen in the Philadelphia hotel lobby. Police found the suspect through CCTV footage, and it was a 20-year-old skinny black man. However, the suspect turned himself in as well as the bag. The player was handed the bag back with all the jewelry still in it. To be honest, it was nothing short of a miracle.
Philadelphia got that team to the 2001 NBA Finals, where they did lose in 5 games. God rest the dead to Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and the Los Angeles Lakers. Remember that.
Number 3, Nicky Young. Nicky Young was able to make $10 million during the course of his career, but during all of this, he was also faced with 2 unfortunate robberies. The first time Nick was robbed was in 2014 when he lived in the Sherman Oaks neighborhood in Los Angeles. One night, He was out playing a game when a thief entered his home. He was able to walk away with $100,000 in the shape of jewelry, handbags, and Yeezys. After the robbery, Nick said, "They got me, man. They stole my Yeezys." Nick thought it was a one-time thing and that it was a coincidence that it happened with him. The second time Nick was robbed was at a $3.4 million Tarzana home in the outskirts of Los Angeles. Once again, it happened when Nick was out playing a game in New Orleans in the All-Star. When he got home, he realized that he had lost nearly $500,000 worth of jewelry, clothing, and other items from his home. He has faced some serious blows in his life.
He's got a great shoe collection, and that might be a motive, but even before him, when Selena was living here, they broke into her house.
Number 2, Derek Fisher. Derek Fisher had an insane NBA career alongside Kobe Bryant. He won 5 NBA championships, and it was the highlight of his career. This brought him a lot of wealth and cash, and of course, evil eyes. In early 2017, Derek Fisher came home to find his house broken into and a lot of stuff missing. Among the things that were taken were cash, clothes, bags, jewelry, and unfortunately, his 5 championship rings. The LAPD released a statement revealing this news. All of this cost Fisher $300,000 in lost items. He was rather sad about the rings he lost, not just because they were expensive, but because they held emotional value. Number 1, Antoine Walker. Antoine Walker made nearly $110 million in the course of his career. Due to this, he was a big target during the time. In 2000, Antoine was at home playing video games when he heard loud noises and screaming coming from the patio of his house. As he walked back to check what was going on, a man barged into the house and held him at gunpoint. Walker was instructed to be led to the area where he kept all the expensive stuff by the robber. He did this under his own will, and the robber was successful at collecting stuff worth $100,000. This included jewelry, watch, cash, and other items. The robber then left with the stuff and was reportedly never found. 7 years later in 2007, when Antoine thought he was safe, he wasn't. Him and his friends were at his home in Chicago when a tragedy struck. A small group of masked men entered the home and held all of them captive. Antoine was again instructed to be led to the expensive item area. Everyone else had their hands and feet tied with a duct tape. After they left, Antoine was able to free himself from the tape and immediately called the police and then his mom. His mom recounted the incident, saying, "Antoine was hysterical on the phone when I first talked to him." She was grateful he didn't get injured in the process.
Let's just begin for people that may not be familiar with your career and how it just,
So do let us know your thoughts regarding all of this and whether you think the robbers that weren't caught in some of these cases should be dealt justice in this life or the next one. And while you're doing that, do remember to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, so you can catch up on more intense content related to sports or anything else in the future. And with that, I'll be catching you guys later in another video. Bye now.